have the huge responsibility to close this day that has been so great. And I know you have the vibe very high, but I want you to take you to a moment that we lived in Mexico this year. So I want you to imagine that you are on a Sunday, normal Sunday, with your family in the supermarket. And then you are planning to have a great pancakes with your kids. My kids are 7 and 11. And somehow, I have to admit that I have this watch with me because it's my condemned to my work because I'm 24/7 connected. Even if my mobile is not near, it's not close by, this thing receives the message. So I started to receiving some messages saying that we had a red code in Guadalajara. We have a store there, a kiosk store. Maybe you are familiar with the brand. And the only message that I received is that our beauty advisors say we can't open the store today. We are in a red code. So I turned my husband, which is with me today, and I ask you applause for him because he's with me today, supporting me. And he's my biggest support. So I say, honey, I need to deal with this. Take care of the kids. So I needed to understand what was going on. And for you to have an idea, the only thing that I knew at that time, it was that during the morning, there was a operation, and there were some rumors that a person was killed, but we didn't know who was the person. So I had to make this call to my CEO and the crisis team and say, we might have something going on. And different to our Chief McFry, because he had a huge problem today to deal with, but it was internally, it was externally. So the question was, what is going on? And I just wanted to say, I don't have an idea. But my answer was, let me make some phone calls to understand what is going on. I will be back to this case later, but for you to have an idea, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., we deal with 250 blockades, and that means trucks that were burned, blocking the streets, news over in all the media, fake news, real news, and we didn't know what happened. So how did I deal with this? And I used 3 principles, and for explaining this, I'm going to take these 3 cases. My first principle, this is a gift from my boss in Cargill. Maybe you know him, is Barry Shaul. He said, my connections are your connections. He went to Mexico and he had some meetings, and I say, hey, I shouldn't be there. And I say, no, Dora, this is the place. I need you to be with me in these meetings. Because when I left and I go back to the US, you are here, and I need you to have these connections. So this is an example of a commerce, a business commerce that is comprised by 60 companies in Mexico that produce the 10 points in the GDP. So imagine this is huge, but we didn't have a security committee. So the security directors were not connected. So one day I said, hey, why don't we create a security committee and connect all my partners? And they said yes. And we were able to do this. And now, and most important, and more than me connecting, is we were able to create a committee that has worked so well that now is recognized by the agencies, by the authorities, and we have a table on the very high-level discussions that are happening. And I'm not leading the committee anymore, but I'm so proud that there are other colleagues that are taking the lead in continuing with this. This is my first example. But my second example is more recent about the FIFA World Cup. We had, I don't know if you are aware, but we were having bi-weekly intelligence calls. So we were together, agencies, companies, private companies, and the FIFA team discussing the threats around the World Cup. And it was very useful. So my question for you now, and especially for those leaders that are here today, that you have team members, are you helping your team to develop their connections? Are you sharing your connections with them? So in the way you want to develop your team, you need to also include this as part of the performance reviews. Don't forget about this. So this is my first case. My second case is one of the best ways you can help others is to help them build their networks. And the example I use with this is that I was part of the ASIS chapter in Mexico City. So we have this community of security executives. So one day I said, why don't we have a webinar? We were in pandemia, so we used to have these webinars, and I say, why don't we have a webinar how we are preparing our next generations? Because I don't know if in other regions are different, but in Latin America, the security professionals, it's still my generation, we are security professionals that learn by doing, not necessarily by academic. So my objective there was to bring security directors, very senior, and to let them talk how they are preparing the next generation. And then a question came up, Dora, why don't you go beyond and create a mentoring program for the region? And guess what? I say, yes, of course, why not? And then we were able to create a mentoring program for free for ASIS members, connecting people for people in Argentina with a mentor from Mexico. 2 generations, intergenerational. So it was really great. We were able to connect in 3 years that we had the program. We were able to connect more than 200 people. And when you listen to stories about the mentees growing because they had the opportunity to access a mentor that offered the time freely and free of any conflict, these kind of things changes their lives. And the second example on this, and this is an invitation, we have like these events like this are very important for connecting and creating the network. These pictures that you see is our regional ASIS Congress. It was in Mexico last year. This year was in Brazil. And the next one, and I want you to stand up, will be in Chile. And Alvar, who is here, will be working with the regional board, creating the agenda and the content. So Alvar, please stand up so everyone can. And this is like the Latin touch that we have, and I bet that you, in every speaker that you have seen on a stage today, you can see the difference, the way we Latin people behave, let's say. And one example I put this is Latin Amigos. Latin Amigos is an initiative of people going to pick up the people on the airport, because they feel welcome, but also it is, and they didn't charge. They put their car, their time, just to pick up someone and to say, hey, welcome to my country. But those connections are connections for life. So these are the kind of things that make the difference. And the third one is there is no competition on saving lives. So what I really like about working in security is this idea that we can work together. So this example is HEMARC. HEMARC is a group of, we initially started as a friends. Long story short, I joined a company and I needed to make a big change on the executive protection program, but it was a big responsibility for me to move from an armed scheme program to a non-armed. So I said, let's hire a consultant and to help me to do a benchmark with other companies. After the benchmark, he just realized and said, Dora, you are so powerful together that you don't need me. You just connect. And then we started 10, and now we are 150. And a good Lomardo that is here, he's coming, stand up please. He's coming from Mexico, and he's from HEMARC. And because I asked them, hey, do you want to come to Chicago with me? We have this conference, and Lomardo said, of course, I will be here, I will be there. So we work together. We use this platform to make some alliance with the governments, but also to share information. Like in this case that I started, it was a really good platform, and those were the calls that I did. And do you know something about this? What is going on? And someone immediately picked the phone and said, Dora, I'm here, and this is what I'm seeing. And with this, we were able to take decisions and to avoid the panic that the situation was creating. So, in summary, some speakers have mentioned this, the importance to create the network is dig the well before you are thirsty. So, don't expect that even if you have the number, you call someone and that person will pick up the phone and help you, unless you have developed a relationship before, okay? So, of course, will be confidentiality areas that you can avoid. Be vulnerable and have humility, and this is something that I say, I don't know, but I'm going to ask someone that I know who knows, and even bring it to the table. Now, something that we are doing with some colleagues is that they are organizing these team meetings, and they invite another colleague. So I'm going to speak in Coca-Cola next week. So the security director there invite me, Dora, I want for you to talk to my team. And she's nothing like feeling threat because of me. It's just cooperation. And it's something for the team to think someone new, maybe with the same ideas that her, but makes a difference to hear from someone else. And the last one will be the law of absolute reciprocity. When you give, you receive, but you also have the obligation to give back. And these are my recommendations, 3 books that I think that are worth to read. Never Eat Alone. And I have to say that this one changed my life because in the company I work for, it is very important that you connect informally because it's so complex and so the culture is so complex that unless you are connected and you are grabbing a coffee with someone, you will know that something is going on. So that is a really good book. The Trusted Advisor will give you some really handful templates that you can use, okay? So it is good to have also in practice with your teams. And Team of Teams is from the General Stanley, and he talks about how he understood to work in a network is different than working in a hierarchy, and it's up to the objective that you pursue. So basically, this is my final remark. When you are there and the CEO is looking at you and your legal and your HR, you can have PDFs, manuals, but they just want one thing. They just want to see you in your eyes and see that you are confident on your recommendation. And for you to be able to do that, the best way is to create a network that supports you, okay? And that can guide you during these difficult times. So this is me. Feel free to reach me, to keep the conversation, and I really enjoy being here today. And I really want to say thanks to Mike for inviting me. It has been a great experience, and I hope for all you too has been a great day. Thank you.